Hey guys, what's up? It's 412 Sports Cards here today, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking Zion Williamson in the newest installment of my Buy, Sell, Hold series. So, I've talked a lot in my recent videos about the falling prices of some star players, young star players that is, in the NBA, and Zion, no exception to that. That said, I felt like a player of Zion's caliber deserved a video of his own, and in this latest installment of Buy, Sell, Hold, I'm going to be addressing the cases for the buy, sell, and hold position on Zion Williamson basketball cards. Now that said, I'm strongly in favor of a hold position at the current time, but I'm going to get into all those cases, starting with the buy, then moving to the sell, and finally to the hold cases. I'm going to go over some card stats and some on-the-court performance metrics that might be useful for helping you understand. So here we go. First, I'll give you guys the buy case. So this requires some diving into the on-court performance to analyze the buying case a little bit, but Zion's stats have been improved this year. On slightly higher minutes, he's been putting up averaging 23.9 points a game. That's up from 22.5 last year. Rebounds at about 7.5 a game, up from 6.3, and assists 1.9 assists per game, down from 2.1. Now, his minutes are up crucially from 27.8 to 33.1. That's a pretty decent minutes uptick, especially for someone who conditioning was a worry in the past. And despite the 3-point woes he's had this year, his field goal percentage is up too, which is big time. I think it goes a long way to silence some of the concerns we've had about his conditioning. Not only is Zion playing more minutes now, but he's also doing it at about the same, slightly more efficiency. What that probably means to us is that he's not playing these minutes and then being incredibly inefficient and dragging down his field goal percentage and stuff like that because he's gassed. I think he's in better shape. People definitely said before the season he looked better. I think that his minutes and the efficiency on the field are proof that he is in better physical shape, which it could also honestly be a factor preventing injury, and I think that that's another big concern we've had with Zion, something that's kept his prices down a little bit, is just that concern of injury to him. Now, that's a huge point for the buy case, right? He appears, those conditioning and injury concerns have been a little mitigated this year, and another reason for the buy case is I think that Zion remains just a centerpiece of the Pelicans going forward. He and Brandon Ingram are going to be the centerpieces in the draft. If that franchise they are. Zion was a number one pick. Brandon Ingram's a great talent, young talent. And the draft capital they have left from that AD trade and the Drew Holiday trade really have them, the coffers are full. And it should allow the Pelicans to trade for a high caliber player, a star in the league for sure. I've heard rumors. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but I've heard Bradley Beal being linked to the Pelicans as a potential trade destination should he request a trade. He would definitely space the floor, and he would definitely give you a guard who can score on his own, which would be really nice. And time will tell, but the Pelicans have the picks to make a trade like that work, probably without even having to give up Brandon Ingram just because there's so many picks. But that's something to consider, just a possibility, but it would be good for his prices. And with that said, that I know New Orleans has struggled a lot this year, but I do think there are hopes for the rebuild. So here's, in short, the buy case. He's the centerpiece of the franchise, that with the tools to progress through a successful rebuild, and has quieted some injury and conditioning concerns. All the while, his prices have been tanking. And that's the key kind of this buy case, is that his stock has improved a little bit this year, not a ton, just a little bit, but the price falling is what makes it the buy case work, right? His Prism PSA 10 is down 38% to $611, and even more resilient cards of Zion are down. So that you're talking his Prism Silver PSA 10 down 29% to $4,200, and his Select Concourse PSA 10 is down 30% to $267. So I really like the plays on his rarer stuff. You don't usually see those more resilient, lower pop cards like a Concourse or a Prism Silver fall that fast, fall that close to the amount that the base is falling. I think those are your longer term investment pieces too, which is what I would be doing with Zion. The Pelicans do have some work to do in rebuilding that roster, and it might take some time, so I might want more of a longer haul on him. But the fact that those higher end, lower pop cards have fallen off so fast, almost as much as the Prism PSA 10, is really telling to me of a nice opportunity to swoop in and get some good value. If you were a buyer, I would, and believe this buy case, I would be a buyer in that market. The rarer cards that have fallen close in price to the Prism Silver. That said, I'll give you the sell case too. Apologies, I don't have a lot of cool Zion videos or Zion cards to show off. I don't know much Zion, which I don't know, maybe that should tell you something, but I usually buy Legends. But the sell case, there's no denying that the Pelicans have struggled a lot this year, and that's the biggest factor in the sell case. Despite having Ingram and Zion, guys like Bledsoe and Eric Bledsoe and Lonzo Ball just have not been doing enough to keep the team going. Lonzo in particular is having a really bad year. He's struggling to facilitate in the half court, and his shooting has been absolutely atrocious. He's shooting 38% from the field, 30% from three, and 4.6 assists per game. That's really bad for a point guard. Now, people do still say that Lonzo's great at distributing in transition, which in Zion is one of the best transition finishers in the league. So maybe if they did more of that, they'd be better, but they're not doing it right now, and it looks ugly. The Pelicans look really bad out there. I've watched some games. I think that with J.J. Redick on his slump, shooting very poorly from three, the floor spacing is an issue. I know Eric Bledsoe can hit the three, but Lonzo can't. And J.J. Redick's been having a hard time. And the floor spacing is an issue, right? Because Zion thrives in the paint. He thrives cutting to the paint. And he thrives working in the post and just using his speed to get to the rim. But when you can't space the floor, those lanes are a little tighter. And it's a little harder to work in there. And I think that's a negative for Zion in particular. The team, too, because I think the team goes the way that Zion goes a lot of this time. It makes me worry in the short term about how much they'll be able to run plays for him. Furthermore, I do think that although the higher minutes and stuff does quiet some injury concerns, those still linger more than you'd like for a young player, right? Like even with some of them mitigated, I think they are a lingering concern. And when you have long-term health concerns of a young star with prices as high as Zion, it's scary. It's scary to be the one holding them. So that's why I would argue probably for a sell case. That's probably the argument for the sell. To be perfectly honest with you, I think that the buy and sell are both pretty strong. I can see it going either way, right? The Pelicans look really bad, but they have so much draft capital. And they have so much potential, and I feel like Zion's not being utilized to his fullest, but what if they don't end up ever changing it? What if there's mismanagement and they don't get the fullest out of him? We could pay full price. You could lose a ton of money on these cards. That's why I'm kind of in the hold camp. You can see, right? I got two Zions, and neither one of them is valuable. I mean, I pulled this. I bought this just to have a piece, just because I wanted a cool-looking Zion card. I'm not huge into Zion myself. I think there's so much that could happen on the upside, so much that could happen on the downside. If you have them, I would stay put, because you would hate to lose out on so much upside. Maybe sell one or two, maybe buy one or two, but I would be pretty neutral in this market. It's kind of a wait-and-see type of market, in my opinion, with Zion right now. There's so many factors up in the air. The team success, team composition is a real big one. I mean, for all we know, the guys like Redick could go off, right? And they could start killing it out there. And the cards could be skyrocketing. But Zion could get more plays run for him. The cards could skyrocket, but just as easily he could get hurt, right? And there's so much upside, so much downside. I would just maybe stay in the middle and just hold it down. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you don't mind, dropping a like, dropping a sub if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.